The following is a presentation of the St. Louis Chess Club.
Welcome to Toronto for the 2024 FIDE candidates. We are here in front of the Great Hall where all the action takes place. It's going to be an exciting event. Let's go to the studio and start the action.
It's finally here, the candidates with everything to play for. All eyes on the Americans as we present the special edition of Today in Chess. Hello and welcome everyone. I'm your host Nazi Paikidze and I'm here with Grandmasters Yasser Seirawan and Evgeny Miroshnichenko.
Nice to be with you, Nazi, and Miro. Very, very
Lovely
special.
To see you.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hello, everyone. Well, it's here at last, the Candidates Tournament. And boy, what a roster of players we have. We already had two results. We're going to be doing a highlight reel coming up very shortly. But tell us and tell our viewers about the roster. Let's start with the Open.
Let's take a look. We have the rating favorites, two Americans, Fabiano Caruana and Hikaru-Nakamura. Young star from France, Alireza Firouzja. The last two candidates winner, Nepomniachtchi from Russia. And then three incredibly talented grandmasters from India, Pragg, Gukesh, and Vidit.
I was about to say, Nijat with his low rating is sure the man who's got a target on his shoulders. And in the women's section, who are the favorites there?
The rating favorite is Russia's Aleksandra Goryachkina. Then we have last year's World Championship challenger from China, Lei Tingjie. India's number one, Humpy Koneru.
Right.
Russian Grandmaster Kateryna Lagno. Chinese Grandmaster Zhongyi. Ukraine's number one, Muzychuk. India's new Grandmaster Vaishali and sister of Pragg.
That's a first.
And international master from Bulgaria, Nurgul Salimova.
And tell us about the format. Start with the Open.
It's an 8-player double round-robin tournament. The time control is 120 minutes for first 40 moves, 30 minutes for the rest of the game, and 30-second increment from move 41. There are no draw offers allowed before move 40.
Slight difference with the women's format.
Yes, the time control is slightly shorter. They have 90 minutes for first 40 moves, 30 minutes rest of the game, and 30-second increment from move 1.
And it's the players that made the decision. It was the FIDE that pulled the Open section and the women's section, and that's what they came up with. Choice of the players, the schedule of these two candidates.
It's going to be a very long tournament. Players will play 14 rounds total with 4 rest days in between, and we might get an exciting tie-breaks day if necessary.
Right. And Miro, this is the first time in history that the candidates tournaments, both the Open and women, have been played together. And the candidates tournaments are so meaningful. Why?
Well, absolutely. As you've mentioned, first in the history of candidates tournament, that means it's a long and, very, very exciting history. And it's been changes of formats, it's been candidates matches, huge tournaments with 20 plus players, but it's always been winner takes all. So if you win the candidates tournament, you achieve the pinnacle of your chess career, you will be facing the world champion in a world championship match. In our case, the winner of Open section will play against current world champion Ding Liren. And we can have a little look on at the, recent events. So in 2018, Fabiano Caruana, by the way, present here in the top seat, he won the candidates to face off with Magnus Carlsen. It was a very tough match, which Fabiano lost on tiebreak. 2021, with a delay of 1 year because of the pandemic, another candidates tournament took place, was won by Russia's Nepomniachtchi, and he had a shot at playing a match against Magnus. Didn't go very well for Jan. Magnus kept the title. But Jan was back in 2023, once again winning the candidates in very convincing manner, but once again losing on tiebreak Ding Liren after Magnus decided to not take part in the World Championship match. The recent history of the candidates for the ladies, it's only been two. It's only been two candidates tournaments. So in 2019, I think it was, when Aleksandra Goryachkina convincingly won the candidates tournament, and 2020 was a year of her match against current world champion Zhu Wenjun. Was very, very tight match, but eventually Zhu Wenjun prevailed. 2023, Zhu Wenjun's compatriot Lei Tingjie won the candidates tournament and once again was very, very close to seizing the title, but again Zhu Wenjun defended it. Same as in the open section, both last winners are present at our current tournament, which promises us a lot of competition. And let's go to the city which for next couple of weeks will become world's capital of chess. We are lucky to have a member of our group, Begim, there in Toronto. So, well, she took a look at the venue, she spoke to the players, and let's hear from Begim.
Hi everyone, we are live from Toronto here, so we have an exciting day ahead of us for sure. Our guys Fabiano Caruana and Hikaru-Nakamura are facing each other and started their game with a sharp Sicilian line, so it's going to be a wonderful day here. Follow us and we're going to deliver great interviews, and hopefully we're going to catch as many players as possible here today. Thank you.
Thank you, Begum. Indeed, we look forward to those interviews, but do tell our viewers the pairings. Let's start with the Open. Nazi.
Right, the players are already playing. We have two Americans facing each other in round one. Right. Fabiano against Hikaru.
Big matchup, and of course, by the regulations, the players from the same federations should play each other as early as possible. That's why we're seeing such familiar matchups.
Right, and we have Nijat Abasov playing Nepomniachtchi, Alireza Firouzja facing Pragg, and Gukesh against Vidit.
Well, here it comes. We have two results already. Nijat and Gukesh, as white, both drew their games. Details to follow. Tell us about the pairings for the ladies.
As you mentioned, two Russians are playing each other, Goryachkina against Lagno, Muzychuk playing Selimova, Lei Tingjie playing Zhongyi, and Vaishali against Koneru.
Wonderful. And I've got this game of Fabi and Naka, and that bishop c3 and rook takes f2 was quite the crowd pleaser, Miro.
Oh, well, yeah.
Tell us about it.
If you want to talk about this one, yeah, right. Of course, yeah, well, obviously with two ELO favorites and two favorites, and we have quite a lot of stats on those players, so right. Later on we'll explain why exactly they are favorites to win this event. With them playing each other, of course, that was promise of an interesting, entertaining game, and they did deliver. Well, not going too much to detail, but I cannot really start from the current position because, you know, a lot of events happened before that. So, bishop to c3, well, equal material, and Hikaru goes to attack the rook, and you can see a little mark, so computer considers this one to be a mistake. After rook b5, brilliant. Rook sacrifice on f2 has happened. Why it's brilliant? Because if the king takes, Hikaru has calculated it all the way to a draw, so it would have been queen h4 check. And then, well, not the easiest way to see, but bishop d4, you don't want to take it because of checkmate in 1, and if king goes to h1, bishop e5. So white is a rook up, but his queen and rook are not very good in defending the king, which is on the other side of the board. And yeah, all white has to do is to go g3, and after queen e4, queen e3, there will be a perpetual check. Right. So we are going back to rook takes f2. Fabi seen through that, and he replied with rook to d5. Defended rook. Hikaru goes into a zone. Queen h4, so more and more pieces around white king. Queen to d3. Rook f6, and here perhaps there were some inaccurate moves. g3, well, computer confirms to be brilliant, and that's what you want to do. You do want to control some dark squares.
I know this from the Puzzle Rush tactics. instead of the move g3, queen takes c3. Give me the bishop.
Queen takes c3. Yeah, by the way, why don't you take the bishop? Yeah, and it turns out it's a check, and it's a little check. And when white takes, black takes. And this is, yeah, Yasser, you are brilliant at Puzzle Rush.
I won a lot of Puzzle Rush challenges with that pattern.
Okay, so after g3 and queen to b4,
Right.
we move on. King g2, bishop b2, and rook f5, last Fabi's move. And now, well, that's the current position. Hikaru is thinking last Fabi's move, according to the machine once again, drops significant part of the advantage. White is still better, and well, I'm yet to figure out what's wrong with rook f5, because yes, computer has a4 as the best move, but also like rook to d7, rook to f1, so it doesn't mean that a4 was the only move to keep the advantage. There were alternatives. However, after rook f5, the advantage drops significantly if black simply captures, goes g6, so there is no hidden tactic for black of any kind. So he just goes g6, after queen goes, say, to f3, yeah, computer plays moves. So that means there's no forced pattern. There is nothing like happening right here, right now. It's just that f7 perhaps is no longer that weak. Black will manage to coordinate, will return the bishop to, say, e5. And it turns out you have two passed pawns, but as long as black keeps both the queen and the bishop, it will be very hard to break any sort of blockade. Like, we imagine pawns getting to c4 and a6. Black puts both pieces on this diagonal, and it will be very, very hard to break through. So even though white is a pawn up, his advantage is only 0.5, right? So it's kind of half a pawn compensation, let's call it this.
That feels right. And we have two results so far, Nazi.
Right, we had two draws between Nijat, Abasov and Nepomniachtchi, and Gukesh and Vidit.
Wonderful. And we have the games that are ongoing. Fabi was just discussed by Miro. And the game that really, boy, as we were coming on air, we were looking at this. I tell you, I confused myself. And basically, exactly at this moment, I just saw the move queen e2. And I was thinking to myself, boy, I really like white's position. Visually, I've got the half-open G file. I'm just going to double my rooks. I'm going to play rook G1, F4, F5, and it's going to be beautiful. It's going to be a massacre on the king side. Perfect coordination. And then this is really, it was so sudden how it happened. Takes, F4, rook h6, and I went, what? I was sputtering. I said,
who's getting checkmated?
Right, you know, like, what just happened? White's the one under attack. There's a mate on h2. He had to play f3, and we're very quickly getting to the current position on the board. And this was it. And I was really kind of struggling to convince myself that I had an advantage or a disadvantage. And I don't know. What's your take? Your feeling? Would you prefer white? You're happy with black?
I think after Pragg played f5 and very quickly activated all his pieces, especially the major pieces, I think I can certainly say that black has equalized the position.
Exactly.
And neither side is really attacking the king anymore. We just saw the last move, a4.
Right, a kind of indication that the attack has, well, fizzled is a strong, it hasn't achieved the goals that we wanted. And so a4 is an attempt at creating a weakness on the queen side. We have two results.
Absolutely.
Tell us what happened. I think the game of Nepo was a little bit dry. But the other draw...
Yeah, well, for both deserve to be, kind of highlighted. So Nepo's game, I'll click like each 5 moves, so to speak. So after move 5, you have, well, move 6, you have the Queen's Gambit, well, the opening of the World Championship matches, right? Aleksandra, Capablanca, we think of, so on and so on. So move 10. Queen's isolated pawn position. Once again, if you check the database, there is quite a few games in this line. What's interesting, a couple of games of Nijat Abasov has already played this game with white. So Nepo was prepared. And then critical would be move 15 when Abasov goes d5. So perhaps something went wrong before that because, well, according to the machine, he has to go d5. And usually, d5 move is the sign that a lot of stuff coming off the board. And, well, in some rare cases, it means white is winning. But this is not the case. And then, yeah, white is not winning. A lot of stuff comes off the board. So you guessed it right. After, say, 20 more moves, that's what we've gotten. Absolutely equal rook endgame. Well, you can say black is tiny bit better. But, yeah, for this kind of level, of course, it was a draw. And the other game was much more exciting, even though very short draw. And once again, you know, sometimes results turn to mislead.
Right.
If you see it was a draw between two Indian players in 15 or 20 moves, you would expect, there was nothing much going on.
Right.
Right. I'm not sure where we start. Let's start at move 10, which is already an original position with rook being on d2. So he, well, in this fairly well-known position, he went for rook a1, a2, and if you look at it, it's quite a tempting lift for this rook. They maneuver to rook to d2 on the open file. However, it turns out it's a very rare move. So white has played all the developing moves like bishop to b2, bishop d3 instead. Rook a2 was very rare. Knight to e5, rook to d2, knight f3, g, f3, and black simply castles. So doesn't care about the d5 pawn.
I care.
Bishop d2, a5, c takes, and then it turns out that it was always the plan to sacrifice the d-pawn and go e5. And if you think of it, yes, white is a pawn up, but his king side is somewhat compromised. And, you know, like kind of the potential energy of white pieces just decreased a great deal, right? So you have two heavy lifters doubled on the d-file, and that's your silly pawn restricts both the rook and the queen. Turned out black has more than sufficient compensation, and especially after knight b5 and all that, let's get there, already computer starts favoring black.
Wow.
And later on, the very next move, after queen c2, there were, well, some continuations that would offer black somewhat better chances. But, yeah, Vidit's choice was bishop g4. And it's well, you know, it's a curious move, because bishop g4 leads to a forced draw in a position that, well, perhaps he was better beforehand, but for this to be a draw, white absolutely needs to go bishop c3 and bishop b2. So bishop g4 forced a draw. Had white captured the bishop, guess what? After rook to c8, I don't know all the lines, but computer knows. It's absolutely winning for black.
Right.
So, well, quick, but a lot of action, packed with the action.
Wow. And
All right.
just winning the pawn, and you could play bishop takes e5. Nazi, I got to tell you, I mean, the computers and how much preparation goes into these games is remarkable. We've got a little clip for you of the opening ceremonies. Let's have a look.
Welcome to the opening ceremony of the 2024 FIDE candidates here in Toronto. All the players will show up soon, and it's going to be an exciting evening.
It's kind of great to be here, to start feeling that atmosphere. I'm definitely getting excited about the tournament and seeing all the players here with their seconds, their accompanying people. It's very exciting.
These tournaments have a way of surprising. Sometimes people have a big lead at the beginning and then they crash and burn. So it's such a long event that nobody gets the victory in the first couple of days, nobody's out of it, and so that makes it intriguing for all 3 weeks.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's been a lot of preparation, a lot of waiting for the tournament to start, and you're always, you know, there's a lot of anticipation, and then you're happy that the first round is finally starting, and you no longer have to worry about what will happen because you'll see soon what will happen.
Having played the candidates a few times, I would say that a lot of it comes down to right pairings and critical rounds. To some degree, I would say luck is involved. This is a winner-take-all, so I'd like to play well, but I wouldn't say that I expect to win. I think I just hope to have a plus score, and that'll be good enough for me.
It was a fabulous opening ceremony. We cannot wait to get started. Let's go back to the studio and start the action.
thank you, Begum. Indeed, looks like a fun opening ceremony to be sure. Let's jump to the ladies section because we have some result in their event. Let's start with the Russians.
Well,
The all-Russian
two
Russians.
results, in fact.
Right.
So, Goryachkina against Lagno.
Right.
And, well, that was a bit of a surprise, I have to say. Not the result itself, but like it's a rich position still.
Exactly.
And according to the machine, well, black is a stronger side. And all of a sudden, after Queen G4 93, well, machine says just don't repeat.
Right.
Right. So the best move, according to the computer, is Queen H4, but Queen G5 is good, Queen F4 is good. Just don't repeat. Well, Lagno perhaps didn't feel like it, and you know you are in this mental time frame of start with black against the top seed. Draw is okay. It's a long tournament. I'll get my chance. So when you get your chance in the game one, very often you just end up not taking it. So she just went back to E6, knight to D5, and Goryachkina was happy to repeat. And so perhaps was Lagno, as you can see, computer highlights Queen E6 as the mistake because it repeats the position.
If you don't mind, just hang around on that position
absolutely.
for just a second. I agree with you wholeheartedly about you go into the game, it's round one, you got the black pieces, you're up against the top seed. A draw is very professional, very good, your trainer applauds you. If she had said, you know what, I like my chances and played the move Queen H4, Miro, just tell us why the computer has this understanding that things aren't so nice for white.
Oh, well, from what I can see through these lines, it turns out white can't really kick the queen away. So we could try. Like, well, computer recommends various moves.
Right.
We could try and say, okay, let's go G3. Maybe the queen's going to go back.
Forcing.
Queen H3.
Hanging around.
And then, yeah, it's hanging around. And in all those lines that I will not be showing, but I can see myself, black is threatening, knight to D8, E6, and then F4 or G5. So it's a long maneuver. But it turns out that white doesn't really have targets. White doesn't really have, you know, the measures to kind of kick away this queen. Because look, G3. Let's check with the computer. Let's check if human understanding, you know, kind of worth something. If queen goes away, so I would say I go King G2, which is probably a bad move. Yes, it is. But anyway, what I wanted to say, like, if you let me play King G2, bring the other rook, I feel much safer, right? But it turns out, yeah, if black would have put the queen on H4, white's in trouble. So you have to look for moves like rook to F1. Yeah, okay, let's just quickly follow the best lines.
D8.
Knight to D8, yes, knight D5, knight to E6, rook E3, and then, yeah, well, once again, it's not the specific line. It's just the computer insists in all three, like, strongest line for black. Black is better.
Black is simply better. I wanted to interrupt you before we go to the second draw, because just go back, if you don't mind, to the game of Fabi for just a moment, because that...
the pawn's moving.
Yeah. I just wanted to ask, is the pawn moving well?
Yes, it does. It does move extremely well, but up to a point, because, anything white tries is 0-0-0, which is, in computer language, is... It's a draw. Why do you play on silly?
Right.
Then, okay. I mean, of course, I'm making stuff up because black still has to be careful.
He's the one
and say after Queen D3. What I'm curious to check in these positions, if I have access to the engine, it's not what the evaluation is, but how many moves for the defending side keep the position equal.
Right.
Because if I have 5 different tries and you, as my opponent, always have to find one defense. It's equal for the computer, but it's not equal in terms of human v human play.
Exactly.
Right, and here, well, he has quite a few alternatives, Hikaru. Like, the best move would be Queen B7. But...
We do have a move. Fabi played Rook B5 instead of Queen D3.
Yeah.
I'm thinking maybe his idea is to somehow force trade
A6, Rook B7.
Yes.
A6, and if Rook takes, Rook to B7.
Right. That would be wonderful if we could get those in.
Okay.
But
and-
objectively, it's a very equal position.
Well, turns out black has to play a queen move, and it's equal. So
queen
computer, gives a variety of moves. Queen to d7, targeting the rook. It was going queen e1 and so on. And now, according to the machine, after queen d7, you can go back to d5, but you just were there. So
Right.
black would be happy to go queen e7, or you can offer queen straight, queen d3 or d5, but I think in both cases black just swaps, goes bishop c3, wins the pawn back, and it's a draw.
It's a draw.
Right. So, well, it turns out Hikaru will hold himself, which once again brings me to this point where Fabi went rook f5, getting
got
rid
a
of,
little
getting
question
rid of
mark
this
for it.
rook.
Yeah.
Because, well, according to the machine, you could and should have started to push the pawn earlier on.
As quickly as possible.
And as I recollected, black pieces, the queen on b4, bishop on b2, rook on f6, they kind of come together to stop the pawns. Because, once again, let's not forget, they do not players, even though they're best players in the world, they do not have this computer opinion that would confirm there is no threat to this king. You don't have to exchange the f6 rook, right? The king is safe, you just push your pawn. So as the flesh and bone player, you want to first kind of get rid of your opponent's activity, and that's what he has done with rook f5, so making sure the rook is gone from f6.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Miro. Well, of course, everybody wants to know who's going to win the tournament. And from a poll or statistical evaluation, we have the following. This is based on ELO probabilities, and it's only when the players have weighted head-to-head with one another. And you can see that, well, Fabi is the
Still
tournament
the favorite.
and rating favorite. Hikaru is very close. Jan, a two-time winner. Just on the outside looking in, you can see it. But look at that, Prague score.
Young Prague somehow already in the third place in this prediction.
Wow. I would have thought Alireza would be a little bit higher in our predictions. And again, this is a different prediction based on the probabilities of head-to-head matchups, their records, their recent performances. It's not just cut and dry, the ELO stuff. Interesting.
But as chess players, we know all that matters is what kind of form you're in for this tournament.
Indeed, and that's what we're deciphering as well. Back to you, Miro, and we had one more draw in the ladies' game.
Yep, let's go there.
To dissect. This one
So that was
drawn.
Right, and then Anna Muzychuk,
Right.
well, she, as the favorite, the yellow favorite, had white against Salemova, but couldn't pose any problems, it would seem.
So his final position looks very comfortable for black.
Yeah, well, I'm clicking here, so it was some action. It started here. Let me check. Oh, well, Petrov defense. E4, E5, knight F3, knight F6, black is solid.
Right.
That's about where my knowledge ends. Okay, I've played quite a few Petrovs and,
So is,
right.
Nepo as well. So if you don't mind doing that five moves.
Five moves, yeah. So let's educate ourselves and the audience.
Right.
Okay, I'll do with move 3 because the main line, what we used to know, the main line of the Petrov would be capturing the pawn. D4 was, well, the second main line or maybe the main line, but quite a few years ago, maybe a couple of decades ago. Right, they were playing this D4 line.
It became the more popular, yeah.
Bishop D3, there's a lot of funny moves here, like one of them being knight C6, which
right.
still amazes me. Knight C6 is not blundering the knight, but
right.
that's a topic for another day. So D5 and knight E5. Okay, we can say this is our kind of first picture. So symmetrical, white is a tempo up. And you would expect white to be slightly better, and he has to be very precise to keep this tiny edge. On move 10, symmetrical, I believe, like if you ever played the Petrov, this should be a familiar position. Just one move earlier. Yeah, castle, everything symmetrical. White went at some point knight c3, doubled the pawns, but, no knights on the board. These pawns are not a worry for now. And what's important, once again, this little one tempo is that white first throws the queen on the h file. So if would be black to move, black would have gone queen h4. Queen to h5, f5, rook to b1, b6, rook to e1. And okay, move 15. We have this. Which
so
computer
far,
has...
is it normal play? Has there been a novelty at this moment, Miro?
Yeah, so f5, I'm sure,
Is
is
all
still
normal.
in the books.
Standard.
So let's just click on move 15 and ask. There was one game with
One game.
d takes c4. Right,
Okay.
so I assume, right, d c4, so we are still following some game that we will
Okay.
not be reviewing, but that means that both players knew what they were doing.
Follow the
Then I'm
signs.
getting move 20, and once again, just slight preference for white by computer, but nothing major, just a fraction of a pawn. On move 25, it's equal. So
Okay.
it would seem to me that Muzychuk actually was following one of the, one of the top choices of the engine, was trying to press, but her opponent just done a wonderful job of, providing all the threads, finding all the moves she needed to find. And yeah, what happened on move 30, we have this endgame, where white would seem slightly more active. But then after this check, it turns out you can't really sneak in on d6. I mean, if this would be a legal move, king e4 to d6, I'd be very happy with white.
Of course.
Yeah, and unfortunately, that's not how chess works.
No.
Okay, so that was the final position. Well, very solid display, and
That's fine. That is.
we've got, while I was talking,
We have 3 results.
we have
actually.
3 results, yeah. And this one, I'm not sure if it was exciting at all, apart from the fact, I think last few moves, the intrigue was kept by Vaishali having like really, really low time on her clock.
Oh.
So as soon as they've reached move 41, a draw was agreed.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to see you make time control. In other words.
Right, so it was, bishop c4, bishop c5, c3, so the Italian, and then, knight f6, d2, d3. I think that's what defines perhaps the most poetic name, gioco piano, right? Mm-hmm. For the Italian, yep. And let me find out, I'll skip the last part of it. So 20, move 20.
Here are the ladies' results, and we actually have a draw on the 4th board as well.
Right, 3 draws so far. Ladies from Russia, Goryachkina and Lagno drew their game, although, as Miro discussed, Lagno had some chances with the black pieces.
Right.
Then Salimova held a very solid draw against Anna Muzychuk, and Vaishali and Koneru, uneventful draw. And we have 1 game left, still live. It's Lei Tingjie against Zhongyi.
Wonderful. I just wanted to go live to Fabi and Hikaru's current position, because when we left it, we had just seen this move, rook to b5. That was where we more or less stopped. And we both looked and said, okay,
A6.
if it was my turn, we see this massive opportunity of playing a6 and rook to b7. Miro spoiled our fun by saying, well, get your queen off the 7th rank, and to make that to take away the effectiveness of rook b7. Queen d8 was his choice, rook d5, queen c7, h4, and we're caught up with our players. I think this is an indication that the computer's triple zeros are accurate. There's
But
rook
I'll
to...
also point out,
Is
they
it a
don't
trap?
have 30-second increment until move 40.
Correct.
And they still have a couple moves to go, and Fabi's
Right.
down to 3 minutes. And yet, he's not making some repetitive moves like rook b5, rook d5. He just played h4.
Right. And just to be clear, I'm not blundering a pawn. Rook takes, queen takes a5. I do have the same queen b7 idea, right?
And black doesn't have more than 1 check. After queen d2, we can play king h3.
Exactly. If the pawn had remained on h2, then there would be this move, queen h6 check.
Is it absolutely deadly to give up f7?
No, I don't think so. For example, if I were to
King
play a move...
h6, for
Well,
example?
yeah, either one. Queen c3, king h6, and, you just kind of... Well, but I wouldn't want to do it either.
Uncomfortable.
Yeah, it feels, especially after Queen F8, I suddenly saw a checkmate that I didn't intend to allow. Excuse me on that one. But
Yeah, so if I may,
jump,
you just don't have to give a check on D2. So this line with queen takes A5 works.
Rook takes.
Absolutely. Rook takes,
Queen
and then
takes.
queen takes, and after queen B7, what Humpy does either goes queen to H6 or king to H6 or queen to E5, which leads to no. Don't give a check.
Don't give a
so
check.
you have to centralize. Yeah, queen E5, check, king H6. And then queen E2 is a threat. So white doesn't have the time to, to...
We might
then
see
the
this on the
difference-
board.
Bishop
because-
G7, queen F4, exchange the queens, agree
Yeah.
a draw.
Queen on E5 just to stop that
Yep.
queen F4. So that would be... And
Hikaru already took on A5, so rooks have been traded. So
And-
we're about to see this all on the board.
Queen B7's on the board. Yeah, queen B7 on the board, so
so
important
the
thing
players have
is...
caught up to us. And we're saying, because what you were just saying, Nazi, the loss of the F7 pawn isn't the end of the world. Queen E5, queen takes F7 check, king to H6. And what Miro was saying, pay attention, I've got a check, I've got my perpetual. C-pawn isn't going anywhere.
Right. And I think you can pursue
Further?
if white goes queen C4, you can speculate on this exchange. Like you go queen D4, and you push the queen away. Queen E2, you probably, queen E6, queen E5, or queen
Right.
E2, queen E5. You're happy with an exchange, right?
Right, exactly. Any queen trades, I
Yeah.
would say it more or less
It's more or less draw immediately.
Immediate draw.
This seems like a very easy draw now, which Hikaru will be very happy with. We must say he did take a huge risk in the opening.
In fact, now is actually a perfect time to try to dissect this game, because for me, Miro, as we were coming into our studio and we were looking at, I was raised very, very simply at the position you have on the board, E5 question mark. That you're weakening the light squares, and bishop b5 check is good for white.
Right, absolutely. So I don't know how many times we've seen this position. And
Yes.
the familiar move would be A6.
A6,
And,
E6, G6, yeah.
When
Knight
you're
C6.
explaining,
Knight C6.
like to, a beginner, what's the knight of variation, why A6, you say you want to cover b5 square before you play E7, E5.
Right.
And yet, in the candidates tournament, we have one guy who similarly doesn't know that A6 needs to be played. And of course, that means that perhaps with modern engines, this whole line got reevaluated. And as Yasser pointed out, so bishop b5 is what we knew back then
Right.
to be, pretty much refutation of the e5. You don't play e5 because this check,
Is
and then
very-
knight e7, knight f5, and you're in trouble.
Right. That was where.
And it all held true apart from the trouble part. Right, so check was good, the knight f5 was good, but
Everything
it
was
turns
good.
out white doesn't have any advantage. So knight to f5, a6, and once again, good old theory would be we take, has to take with the queen to protect the d6 pawn,
Right.
and we would go knight e3, and we would say white is better.
Right. That was where
Which
we
he
saw.
probably is, according to the machine. It's some marginal advantage, but so was white's position was better in the game as well. Fabi preferred not to trade the bishop on d7, instead went for bishop up pattern, bishop b3, b5, bishop b3, knight c5. I don't know, like if these are the only moves, but very, very logical. It would seem so.
Right.
Bishop to g5. Black trades and goes bishop e7. Had to trade the knight on f5 in order to play bishop e7 to avoid the pin. And this, we think, is sort of a critical moment.
Exactly.
Right? So Fabi went on with the capture on f6. Well, we have computers' recommendation, and then we will have Yasser's recommendation a little bit later. Well, in terms of, we go from weaker to stronger. So first we look at the computer, and then Yasser's recommendation is going to pop up. Anyway, so you would think there is absolutely no difference. Castles, that's what computer recommends. Capture on f6, bishop f6, go knight d5, and white is better. And one thing is to get approval from the engine, white is better. The other thing, we as chess players, we love positions like this.
Right.
So white is getting comfortably better position with no counterplay on black's hand.
Right.
And e4 And this move we will see in the game would be met with c2, c3. That's important, you cover the diagonal. I think we will stop here in this line.
And we could say that this is the position that white would aspire to achieve.
Absolutely.
Right.
White is very happy in this structure to have this. So, what happens in our game? You would say Fabi just mixes the moves order. So he trades on f6 first, then he castles, anticipating black to castle so that he will go knight d5. But Hikaru went e4, and this is a crucial move, which helps him to, well, by the way, as you can see, we've predicted the draw.
Happened. If you don't mind, interrupt yourself and just go to the final
position, yes.
To show us what the players did. Because we had said triple zeros, actually.
Yeah.
And
that's pretty much what we were discussing. So
right.
king went to h6, king h3, queen e7, queen c4, queen e3, draw, agreed.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so perhaps, well, the king is just safe on h6. You can't really move the c-pawn.
No.
White's bishop is not very useful on d3.
I have bishop e5.
That's white who has to be careful. like if you do, just, play some...
Don't mess around too much.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you could get yourself into trouble. So essentially, just to refresh, there's only one game remaining in this case, and that we have 3 draws in the open section, 3 draws in the ladies section.
Actually, we should jump to that game because they're both in time trouble and
that's an exciting one.
a little
jump.
unclear.
I'm going to jump to the ladies game, and which one? That was with the 2 Chinese players?
No, I was talking about Firouzja's game against
Oh,
Prague.
pardon me. All right, let me jump to that one.
The engine here tells me that there were some inaccurate moves played, but both in time trouble, so that's expected. And maybe an opportunity was missed on move 30.
And whoa.
And they say it's over with a perpetual check?
Hold on.
It's about to be a perpetual
No, it can't be over. No, not yet.
Is there just queen takes f4 and queen g4 back and forth? Or?
Queen h5 check and same thing, yeah? You can't bring the knight in the way, king to g2, queen to g4. But you're a pawn grubber. Good for you. Queen takes.
I learned from the best.
Yeah. King g1, no. And that's the draw. That's a perpetual. So round 1 featured so many fantastic matchups, but they all fizzled in the end. Not surprising for the start of this tournament. I think everybody wants to play good at the beginning, especially.
Right. The last game that we were discussing, well, it did end in a draw, but I think both players
missed opportunity.
upon analyzing the game with the computer, they will kick themselves for not finding the moment where they would be
winning.
Was the
opportunity?
Black was a couple of times close to having an advantage, and for Firouzja, this move, according to the machine, would give him an advantage of more than 1 pawn.
Wow.
Which is +1.
Okay.
And for this to be +1, you have to play knight e5, which is by no means an easy move to find.
Whoa. Knight e5.
Knight to e5. I have no idea, Yasser, what it means, even with the help of the computer. What I can tell you, you would think, okay, let's take the horsey.
Oh, that's
and
a mate.
It's checkmate in 5, because check, and then check, and a lot of checks and checkmate in the end.
Okay.
That's how it works in chess, right?
That's fair.
So if Firouzja played rook g2...
He didn't. He captured on e6, after which it's a draw thanks to Black's 2 brilliant moves in a row. So now he had to find either knight e7 or knight e5 or knight e7, otherwise Black is lost because of this threat.
Threat of mate.
Knight e5. So it does, what does it do? It deflects the rook, right?
From
so if you take with
H2.
the pawn, the knight would have been hanging.
Right.
But if the rook takes, now you have anything else is lost, by the way.
Right.
Of course, you're piece down and you're getting checkmated, but rook to h2 makes it perpetual check and a draw. And I think they've agreed a draw right here.
Exactly.
because queen h5 is a draw, queen to f4 is a draw as well. So that would be it, interestingly.
Here are updated open results. In fact, Alireza and Prague, as we've just saw, made a draw.
Yeah, they just had the three-move repetition, so all draws so far. But it was not all uneventful. Definitely Fabiano had some chances today in his game. And possibly Vidit.
Yes, possibly, yes. Bishop g4 move. Well, Miro, I was just going to say, we've got one game remaining in the ladies. What's going on in that one game?
That does not look like a draw.
Well, it doesn't look like a draw to me. And if you ask computer, it says minus a lot. Precisely -6.
Because of d4, d3, d2.
Black is completely winning.
Right.
Because of the d-pawn running forward. And not only that, I think if you compare, like, I'm not sure about the bishop, the king, black king, of course, takes part in the game. And also the rook, if need would be, you can always play rook a1. And it turns out with the rook behind opponent's passed pawn, it's not going too far. So the whole setup is just like, black is winning no matter what.
Gotcha.
So after rook a8, for instance, remember I've mentioned in one of the previous analyses, sometimes it's one move only. You don't find the move, you don't win the game.
Right.
Here, like anything you play, even a silly move, you are still winning.
Exactly.
I just want to point out that a mistake was made on move 40.
Move 40, which is painful. Yeah.
How many times?
Well, she could have captured on d5. Which would be almost equal.
Wow.
Almost equal. It's still like not equal in human terms, you know. That black is a pawn up, but would have been much better, of course, than position in the game.
Moment. Bishop takes d5, taking advantage of that pin on the king. Rook takes h4 check, I guess. King f3 or king g3. 3 versus 2. I've got to feel that the white's chances of drawing are great. She missed that, and boy, I mean, now with the time controls, with the 30 seconds, you don't see that so often. But Miro, in my day, move 40 was considered, you know, like the 666. Everybody was blundering on the last move at the time.
Absolutely,
control.
but the interesting statistic that, you know, nowadays people might not be not aware of. So the most mistakes would be made, yes, move 40 or a couple of moves before that, because it's a terrible time trouble. You have no increment whatsoever. More, it's in an analog clock, so you have the thing, the flag kind of falling, but not really. So you had to be like have a good eyesight to know that this is 7 seconds left or whatever.
Right.
But not only that, on move 41, and this is pretty much in the nature of a human brain, you've just survived a lot of tension. And on move 41, you tend to relax.
Right.
And it's a lot of, in the history of chess, a lot of deadly mistakes pretty much made in move 41. When you think you've made it out of a time trouble, it's so nice, and now you can relax. Never relax in chess.
The other thing to that move 41 blunder is many times, I trusted myself, and I trusted that I correctly kept the score, but let's just be safe. You know, you just hurried that 41st move as well, just to make sure that you were comfortably in the time, and that also could aggravate and cost you the game. The king e3, and there we have it. So we're going to have one result, it looks like, for this opening round of the two candidates tournament. And again, I just want to say that for me, I'm really happy with the FIDE decision to bring the two tournaments together. So it's the first time in the history that the Open and the Women, and I think the reason for that, and let's be frank about it, the women's tournaments were not getting the publicity that they deserved. And by having them both on the same stage, FIDE is giving the ladies.
Well, absolutely. I want to say more than that, because I think I've been a part of commentary team for Kazan ladies candidates. It was 2019, I think. And the tournament was not getting publicity because some open event with big names was literally held the same date.
I see. So they overlapped.
Absolutely, which is not the way to do it. And I much more prefer it this way, where you have two tournaments, same place, same venue.
Exactly. Exactly. So once again, the results so far in the open section, 4 games, 4 draws, and we might say that in a couple of them, for sure, they were very intriguing draws, and in the ladies section, we have 3 draws out of the 4 games.
Expecting one win with black pieces.
Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it? Yeah.
I really think today Fabiano will be the least happy in the open section,
right,
because he did get surprised in the opening. Then he got an advantage at some point, almost +2.
Right.
And then it all quickly disappeared into a drawish endgame. So chances like that do not come often in tournaments like this.
But I just wanted to ask you, Miro, again.
I wanted to ask you, Yasser, if I may.
Please.
So the position on the board, and White just played rook e8, and well, a quick test for you.
Yeah.
Without looking at the computer move, what do you play with black? Like with your move with the hand?
Yeah, d4, of course.
d4,
of course.
And that would be the strongest move in the position, but I wanted to hear the answer g5. I mean, this is you know, a move in style, because if White captures, how often do you checkmate with the pawn in a candidates tournament? Not that often.
True.
Right. So
that's lovely.
It turns out that d4 was even stronger, because after g5, White can take on e6. So take on e6, pawn takes, and
so rook e6 is the only
he survives,
move to not get checkmated.
Right, he survives, but we understand not for long, right?
And let's jump to Toronto, as Begum is with Hikaru.
Hi Hikaru, it's great to have you here. How are you feeling after your first round against Fabi?
Yeah, I feel pretty good. Obviously, it's a very tough pairing the first round, especially playing against Fabiano with the black pieces. Last time in 2022, it didn't go so well for me as I lost the first round. But today, I just want to play something different, something interesting. And I mean, it's, in a sense, you could say it's gambling to some degree, because I played something that I knew Fabiano would not be ready for. I knew it was a little bit dubious, but I figured playing with no increment and just getting to a position where I knew I was going to be up a lot of time on the clock out of the opening, I thought it would be good enough to at least draw the game. And yeah, everything worked out, but it was a little bit shaky.
Yeah, it seemed like at some point it felt like the position was a little bit shaky, but you're a very practical player, so, and also you mentioned you defend worse positions better than others too, so did you feel threatened at any point, or you were sure that at some point he will make a mistake and it will end in a draw?
I mean, I think I felt that it was worse, but the fact that there was no increment, I always felt like I had chances. I think somewhere around this moment when he played Queen D3, I was a little bit worried overall, but I figured if I keep defending, eventually he'll probably make a mistake. I mean, that's not to say that he's not a strong player, that he can't find the best moves, but it seemed like a position that required a lot of technique, and when you don't have that increment, it makes it a lot harder to be precise. And I also felt that both of us were missing some things, like Fabiano, for example, he was not expecting his rook takes f2, and I think he also missed rook a8 after a5, so perhaps he wasn't super sharp. I don't think I was at my best either, so it's a fair result.
It's just the first round as well, and many players are actually mentioning that the playing hall is very small. How are you feeling about it, and do you think it will impact your performance?
Yeah, I don't particularly care about the playing hall. I mean, you can say it's small, want more space to walk. I mean, give me my coffee, give me the chessboard and the clock, and I mean, that's all that I need at this point in my career. So, yeah, I mean, maybe there's some issue, but for me, it's not a big deal.
Thank you very much for your time, Hikaru, and good luck with the rest of the tournament.
Thank you.
Indeed, thank you, Begum. Thank you, Hikaru. And here we're standings after 4 consecutive draws.
The first place is shared by everyone with half a point. Not sure how it's organized.
Right. We call it a hot chocolate moment. Everyone's a winner.
Yes.
And we, in the ladies section, we do have 3 draws with 1 game still in play, and a game we think that Black is winning in this game. So, and here we have it.
Right, and if we jump to Tan Zhongyi's game, she did find the g5 move, so this game should be over very quickly.
Nice. And Miro, for me, I wanted to ask you again about this very key matchup between Fabi and Hikaru. If you go to that moment of the Najdorf position.
Right, so the one we were discussing.
I mean, this is, excuse me, but no, seriously, it's not a joke. Knight c6. your move, E6, G6, A6, have all prepared what would come next is E5. If he, Hikaru, can get away with playing E5, is he rewriting opening theory?
Right.
I mean, this is huge.
Yasser,
you've mentioned,
you've mentioned all the moves, but I kind of recollect there was a weird-looking move, Bishop D7, in this position, played by some Yugoslavian grandmaster.
Really?
Which also means that Black does want to play E5 next.
Right,
Yes.
he's preparing E5. But the fact that Hikaru played E5,
got in this check.
Yeah, ignored the check, got a position, got a middle game, which the engine thought he was always playable, I would say.
Right. Still, but, you know, kind of curious to me that what would happen if the old-fashioned line would have been played on the board, right? Takes, and knight to E3, because, you know, from positional standpoint, it's on such a solid, White's advantage is on such a solid ground. I mean, this square, F3, no light square bishop, but maybe we don't care that much, right? So solid, zero chance of getting under any sort of attack. So that would be like very, very critical test, I want to say. And then I'd like once again to come back to this moment where we started our explanation about capture on F6, right?
Or castle.
Or castle, right. So as we said, like castle was clever, and the difference happens to be, right, that now Black plays E4, and that we've seen in the game. And and you could say after bishop F6, I can still go knight D5.
Right.
And after E4, play C3 to block this diagonal. But with short castles not being included, you run into this little check, which completely makes it. Well, computer says it's playable. I want to say that makes it completely unplayable line. You could play King F1.
We're just going to interrupt you. Sorry, Miro.
Absolutely. We have to hear
Begum and Fabi in Toronto.
Hi, Fabi. You had a great round to start with, white pieces against Hikaru, and it seemed like you were very close to win the game. How are you feeling about the game?
I felt like I was close to winning at one particular moment. And to be honest, before that, I didn't feel like my winning chances would be maybe super high. But then he went for something which felt wrong. And I suddenly felt like my feeling, like without even calculating stuff, I just had a feeling that I should be much, much better. But he was playing very quickly, putting pressure on the clock, and I couldn't really figure out how to play it. So
let's go to the game. He said you missed rook f2 after rook b5, rook f2 move. Is that correct?
No, I saw it was a move. I just thought like rook bd5 and how can it work for black?
It seems like your position is winning. What was the point when you couldn't figure out what to move? Is that after queen b4?
Yeah, I felt like it was here, but king g2 is a good move. It's just, it's very tricky because it's not like I have a clear-cut way to win this or something. It's just that I need to trade rooks, which probably is correct. Although Hikaru mentioned rook b1, and it's also a very tricky try. Maybe it was like one of the better tries. But yeah, I see the computer just wants to play a4, which I did kind of vaguely consider. But then I was thinking like after a4, he would play g6, and then he would stop rook f5. And that's why I wanted to trade rooks.
Yeah, even the engine is saying +2. It's not easy to play at all, especially when you have less time on the clock, which is very understandable. So it felt like you were stuck a little bit here, and then we don't have any increment. Did it affect your moves?
Yeah, I think my decision to play rook f5 was partly because I wanted to simplify the position a bit to make it easier for me to play when I get low on time. To be honest, I don't know how easy it is to play this in practice. Like, let's say I play a4 and he plays g6, and I did consider this, maybe I play a5, but then I wasn't sure because he gets his rook active, like rook e8, and then my king is also a bit weak. So to actually prove this in practice, I mean, I have to say that Hikaru's decision to play bishop b2 here very, very quickly without thinking is very, very strong practically. A lot of players would have started to think more and more, gotten low on time, and then they're also in time trouble, and then it makes my job easier as well. So he really kept the pressure up, and yeah, at this moment, what I didn't quite realize is that I can't get my rook active if I get my rook to 7th rank, I just win this position, most likely. But I can't quite do it, and here I guess it's already...
It's very close to equal already.
Yeah, so rook f5 is like my one moment maybe in the game that I could have done something. It was also the moment that we both felt immediately after. Hikaru mentioned rook b1 here, and I also felt like rook f5 is probably where I went wrong.
Yeah.
But yeah, what to do? It's not an easy moment.
Definitely, and mistakes happen, especially it's the first round only, and he's a very practical player. Do you think it's a good pairing for you to start with white pieces against Hikaru, and getting such a great position helps your confidence? Like boosts it?
I think it's sort of a neutral game overall, like maybe a bit more disappointing than anything else. I generally prefer not to start with white in the tournament like this because you don't know anyone's opening preparation. So with black you can be a bit more reactive, and with white you actually have to prove something, but you don't know where your opponent's going to go.
But you did prove something.
Yeah,
Almost.
yeah. Well, Hikaru also surprised me very much with his opening choice. I don't think it's like a great opening choice. It did work out in terms of making a draw, but you're always on the back foot, so I don't see the upside for black. You know, it also is an approach to like take your opponent completely out of their comfort zone. You get a dubious position, but you're up on time, and it did work out, so you can't really criticize it. But it's one of those approaches that that can also not work out.
Definitely. And thank you very much for your time, Fabi, and good luck with the next rounds.
Thank you.
Thank you, Begum. Thank you, Fabi. As we get ready to take our first break, we'd like to check in on our good friends at the World Chess Hall of Fame, the Q Boutique, and see what's on special. Well, here we have it, the athletic jacket. The newest edition of the World Chess Hall of Fame jacket is here, and it is not to be missed. The jackets feature an outstanding, durable, hot-press logo of the World Chess Hall of Fame on the front, available in men's and women's styles for all your chess shopping needs. Do go to qboutiquestl.com, and we're going to see you all on the other side of this break.
The stages are set. The players are primed. The best of the best are ready to face off in the 2024 Grand Chess Tour. The top players in the world prepare to battle across 4 countries over a $1.5 million prize fund. Everything starts in Warsaw, Poland for the Superbet Poland Rapid and Blitz. Then off to Bucharest, Romania for the Superbet Romania Classic. The tour kicks back into high gear in Zagreb, Croatia for the Super United Croatia Rapid and Blitz, with the tour finishing with back-to-back events in the chess capital of America, the St. Louis Rapid and Blitz, and the coveted Sinkfield Cup. 9 players will go in, but only one can be crowned champion. Who is prepared to make history? Get ready for the return of the Grand Chess Tour. The St. Louis Chess Club is the premier chess facility in the United States. We bring the educational benefits of chess to thousands of students across the St. Louis area. We also promote chess at the highest levels, hosting all levels of the U.S. championships, as well as high-profile tournaments that attract the world's best players. Become a member and enjoy perks such as free classes and lectures, weekly tournaments, and so much more. Visit stlouischessclub.org to claim your membership today. The St. Louis Chess Club Scholastic Program brings the educational value of chess to kids in schools across the St. Louis area. Active in over 100 schools throughout the St. Louis city and county, the St. Louis Chess Club has been able to reach over 85,000 students in both in-school and after-school programs. We view chess as a valuable educational tool. Learn more about our scholastic programming by visiting stlouischessclub.org/education. In the world of collegiate chess, there is no team rising quite like the one at the University of Missouri. The team has brought home title after title, including the 2024 Pan American Intercollegiate Championship, the first time ever in school history. Guided by their head coach, Christian Carilla, there is no stopping the Tigers. Respect, responsibility, discovery, excellence. University of Missouri.
The World Chess Hall of Fame, located in the heart of St. Louis's historic Central West End. Want to know why chess has intrigued people around the world for nearly 1,500 years? Stop by and learn about the impact of chess from our 3 floors showcasing the art, culture, and history of the game. The World Chess Hall of Fame has something for everyone to enjoy. For more information on current exhibits, please visit worldchesshof.org. St. Louis, the chess capital of the United States. It also plays host to an award-winning shop dedicated to chess merchandise, all-occasion gifts, and plenty more. At Q Boutique, you can shop both in-store and online. From quirky greeting cards to luxury chess sets, there is something for everyone at Q Boutique. Enjoy a shopping experience like no other. Make sure to check out QBoutiqueSTL.com for a wide variety of gifts for everyone to enjoy.
At St. Louis University, chess and success go hand in hand. Founded in 2016, the St. Louis University chess team has risen to become recognized as one of the best in the nation, bringing home multiple titles, including the National Championship in 2022. With members from 9 countries and led by Grandmasters Firouzja and Darius Fierks, the future is bright for the SLU chess team. Higher purpose, greater good. St. Louis University. The St. Louis Chess Club is the premier chess facility in the United States and is among the best in the world. Thanks to co-founders Dr. Jeannie Cairns Sinkfield and Rex Sinkfield, the St. Louis Chess Club is a non-profit organization committed to promoting the game of chess locally and internationally. We bring the educational benefits of chess to thousands of students across the St. Louis area, promoting cognitive development, critical thinking, concentration, and analytical skills. The St. Louis Chess Club welcomes chess lovers of any age and skill level to come and enjoy the game of chess. We also promote chess at the highest levels, hosting all levels of the U.S. Championships and the American Cup, as well as high-profile tournaments that attract the world's best players, including the prestigious Sinkfield Cup, Cairns Cup, and many more. All tournaments can be streamed via our YouTube and Twitch channels that also include over 2,000 chess lectures for anyone to enjoy. Become a member and enjoy perks such as free classes and lectures, weekly tournaments, merchandise discounts, and so much more. Visit stlouischessclub.org to claim your membership today.
Welcome back, everyone. Let's take a look at our standings.
Indeed, let's do it with the open section. See, what do we have? Everyone's a winner.
Yes, today we had all draws and everybody shared in the first place.
Exactly.
They
started a share for first place and they ended in a share for first place, as everybody has a draw in the open. How about the...
Not surprising.
Not too surprising. How about the results thus far in the ladies?
So far we have 3 draws and 1 game still going on.
Right.
But it's looking like Zhongyi is in the driver's seat.
Exactly. When we left it, you did find that move G5, Miro, that you pointed out. I totally missed it. I saw D4 and I thought, oh, this is push past pawns.
Well, your move perhaps was better than her, because now she still has to find... It's an absolutely winning position, but still there is room to go wrong. And I wanted you to pay attention, Yasser, to one number which, well, a lot of people who play on chess.com love.
What's that?
Accuracy.
Accuracy.
Because the player with white, Lei Tingjie, she's dead lost.
Yes.
Yet her accuracy of moves is 90 plus. So that means just imagine how tough the competition, how high the level is.
Right.
That you play like 90 plus accuracy, which equates to you find 90% of the moves, as far as I understand it, on a very basic level. 90% of the time you play like a machine.
Best moves.
And it turns out it's not enough because your opponent plays, 96 times out of 100 as the machine. So, well, that's incredible level.
Let's go to Begum in Toronto and get some final thoughts of this round 1. Begum, over to you.
Hi everyone from Toronto. It has been an eventful day. We didn't expect to see, honestly, so many exciting games that are happening today. This is crazy. The preparation that Fabiano and Hikaru came up with was incredible. They put a great fight for the first round, and Alireza's game was great as well. For women's section, unexpectedly, it ended. All of the games ended with a draw, which is rare to say, because usually women are very aggressive and they play fighting chess. So the day brought more than we expected, which is great for the chess fans, which is great for us. We had great interviews as well with the players. Also, many players are complaining about how small the playing hall is and how cold it is outside here in Toronto. Those has been the main issues, and everyone is of course happy with the venue and with their hotel rooms, which is a nice thing to know. So we start off a good day, and hopefully it will be even better tomorrow for our American players. Thank you for having me, and I will see you tomorrow.
Thank you, Begum. There's definitely not cold in studio here. I got to tell you, we're under some very bright lights. This opening day has been quite the opening day for us, as we get a view of the playing hall. And I just wanted to say that for me, I'm still, in a shock, in awe of E5. Like, you come and you play a move that has been discounted for the better part of a century. You can't play this move. And he does it in the candidates.
Absolutely. And the fact that in an interview, he himself says it was a bit of a gamble, but it worked out. And then just casually, right? I qualify for the candidates. I'm one of the favorites to win it. Of course I'm going to gamble.
Miro,
Hikaru, right, you know.
Yeah, sum up today. Final thoughts as well.
Quite a lot.
Okay.
Quite a lot. So for the ladies tournament, I'll start from the ladies tournament. Starting from tomorrow, I predict a lot of results in the ladies tournament. And the reason for that, because today everyone was looking at everybody and let's figure out, are you prepared, are you not prepared? But now, assuming the game that is still in progress finishes the way we all assume it to finish, Zhongyi wins, that means there is a clear leader, who won with black, by the way. Mm-hmm. So anyone who considers chances of winning the tournament has to produce wins. So there will be a lot of pressure on the favorites, which in case of a ladies tournament, it's pretty much everybody. Right. Because there is no big difference between the top seed and the bottom seed. Right, for the open tournament, we kept discussing Hikaru and Fabi versus Hikaru, right? Yeah, that was the most amazing opening choice, of course. I'd say a bit disappointing draw between Gukesh and Vidit, right? The kind of Vidit not finding. I don't think he didn't find the courage to play on. He just didn't find the way. Right. Right. And all the other games the two other games looked like fairly square. Apart from this, time trouble where both Firouzja and I'm not even sure who had better chances. Was it Firouzja? Was it Prag? But both missed some chances. Anyway, that means all draws, and in the next round it will be pretty much the same situation. So, of course, favorites with the white pieces will try to press, but everyone will be looking not to lose. I mean, that's a very good start of winning the candidates, not to lose a single game. As Nepo showed previous edition, let's see if Sambo will manage this year.
Thank you, Miro. And again, it was wonderful having you in studio, Nazi. Wonderful for you, Miro. Thank you for joining us. Tell your friends where you're hanging out and join us tomorrow for the candidates. Round 2. We'll see you all tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
This has been a presentation of the St. Louis Chess Club. Any reproduction or distribution of this content without the express written consent of the St. Louis Chess Club is prohibited.